Okay, and you're listening to You Can Fix That in Post with Simon, Elise, and Dave, and this week's topic, courtesy of Dave, so blame him, is virtual reality and simulation and all this other sci-fi nonsense. Explain yourself.
Right, so movies like The Matrix, Tron, 13th Floor, where they usually involve artificial intelligence, but where there's whole universes or worlds that are basically a computer simulation.
And real people are jacking in or being immersed in this, and...
Yeah, exactly. So I guess there's usually two worlds. There's the simulation world and then the real world.
So
and
we're
then
really busting out the black leather and the dark shades. Just to, get
Is this just some kind of fantasy, Elise? Or just like...
It just seems to be an overarching theme through a lot of these. There's a lot of black leather.
Yeah. So, I mean, other titles, you got what? Virtuosity, Tron, if you want to go old school, Brainstorm,
Source
Dark
Code.
City, Source Code. And then you got the modern stuff of what? Inception.
Transcendence with Johnny Depp.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what are the universal themes of this, Dave?
Well, there's a lot of, I guess, God complex going on in there. Or is it the Messiah thing happening?
Messiah figure.
Messiah figure, yeah.
There is a lot of this idea of, I've created life.
Yeah.
And what's my responsibility towards that? Like, oh, I've made this computer program, but it's now learning by itself and it's aware of its own existence. But hey, we can just unplug it.
Yeah, that's it. Like, what are the morals there and what's actually real as well? Like, when things like The Matrix becomes more real than actual reality, I guess.
Well, I mean, I remember seeing The Matrix, and the catch kind of phrase afterwards was like, this reality might not be real. Like, we could be in The Matrix. It's like, yeah, no. This is real.
No.
I mean, Dave's looking at me as if to say...
What, have you not seen 13th Floor?
Yeah, I've seen 13th Floor. I believe they believed that they were in a reality.
Yeah.
But if you said to me, do I believe seeing a black cat or deja vu means that I'm in the Matrix? I'd go, no, you fucking crazy. Dave clearly thinks we're in the Matrix.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's possible.
Yeah.
I'm agnostic about it. Yeah, so I guess belief comes into it a lot.
Well, yeah, I mean, a lot of this is about resurrection.
Yeah, very
and,
tied into religious themes.
Well, we watched The Matrix in RE.
Yeah.
But admittedly, that was just because our teacher couldn't be fucked.
Interesting. Well, we watched it in maths because we were studying matrices, but yeah.
That teacher clearly couldn't be fucked as well.
I do remember actually watching The Matrix in high school.
It's like, what do we got? We got biology class. Let's watch The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Why's that?
There's a lion in it.
Yeah. Are we dissecting a lion? No. Just watch the DVD and leave me alone. I'm going to play on my phone. Okay, so what are the standout films then? What are the things that push the envelope? I mean, for me, there are, precursor films. There's films that kind of had ideas of this. But if someone said to me, this is the topic, I'd go, oh, are we talking about The Matrix?
Yeah, same, yeah. I mean, Tron predates it by a good 15 years.
Mm.
And there are themes in The Matrix that were sort of laid down in Tron. But that late 90s was when, the internet was really becoming its own thing. People were becoming more interested in it. There were jobs and careers getting started in it, in IT. And it became a part of everyday life. And that's when The Matrix came into cinemas and kind of blew everyone's minds.
Yeah, I think there is a dating of these films. As in, I rewatched Tron recently, and it's just at the time, was that mind-blowing for people?
It was, though. That's the thing.
Yeah, that's the thing.
It was 1982. That was the first film with computer-generated
And I imagine,
effects.
about 40 years from now, someone's going to watch The Matrix, and they'll be like, really? This is what you thought was mind-blowing? Yeah.
Y2K, scary.
Yeah.
But, with Tron, the Academy, when it came around to nominations for like best effects, they considered it cheating because they'd used computers instead of, doing things practically.
Yeah.
But having rewatched it, like I hadn't seen it since I was a kid. Having rewatched it, I couldn't help but think Star Wars came out 5 years before.
Mm-hmm.
The effects in Star Wars, sorry, but they're infinitely better than in Tron.
Yes. But I mean, it's a different idea and it's a different kind of area. I mean, in the sense that using miniatures, using like things to do After Effects or to mess with the negative. It's like you watch some of these films from like the 80s and you see a lightning on the screen and you're just like, oh, someone like hand did that per shot. Or like electricity. It's like Highlander is kind of... you can kind of see the cheesiness of it. But it's the best that they could do at the time. Yeah. And sometimes what they do at the time is better than trying to do something that they have not yet mastered. So I can watch Highlander and go, oh, it's a little bit of sparkly light on there and it looks, they've painted the negative, that's great. As opposed to kind of going, hey, we could do CG for the first time, so we made Tron. Yep, and it looks like shit.
It paved the way, though.
Yes.
You say that it was the first step on a...
What is it they say? The road to hell and is paved with good intentions. Okay, so Matrix. Do you remember watching it when you were a kid? Do you remember seeing it and did it blow your little mind?
Yes, definitely.
Absolutely, yeah.
How about you elaborate?
The amount of hype over the bullet time sequence where he's like dodging the bullets.
And how every film after that was just like, now we want to make it so that the bullets are speeding past and we're all going to mimic the idea of, dodging them. Mm. So I think it was like Scary Movie 1 or 2 where, the scary mask guy did it and he injured his back and he was walking around. I recently watched Blade 2. And in listening to the audio commentary to that, what I found interesting was they were talking about the idea of someone moving out of the way of a bullet, and the bullet being in that slow-mo kind of Matrix style. And they said, we actually did that first. And they did. They did that in the first Blade. Ooh. So Blade shoots a gun, and the bullet goes past in that slow-mo thing, and Stephen Dorff moves out the way. That was the first instance of that kind of effect. But then the Matrix did it to the nth degree with, like, Keanu doing the whole limbo thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With the jacket flying and then the bullet trajectory, like the air moving behind it.
Yeah, the bubbles.
Yeah.
Do we think the sequels were necessary, fruitful, worthwhile? Did we enjoy them? Like, if someone said...
I sat through them. I'd like... The third one I feel is better than the second. Just in my honest opinion. I found the second one, very tedious.
I find that the idea I like, the bullshit behind it I don't. As in, like, if someone said to me, okay, in the future, there's an AI, and the AI is warring with humans, so it blackens the sky, but it needs power, so it turns humans into batteries to power itself. And how does it do that? It creates the Matrix, and they're all plugged in. That's great. And then when you say the idea of, okay, Neo is the one, and at the end of the first one, he's basically saying, I'm coming for you, to end this thing. I have no problem with them doing a second in which they kind of explore the idea of the humans versus the aliens, not the humans versus the robots. But when you start talking about truth and consequence, and no, it is conscience and choice, and, you talk about this, and we're talking about this guy with a white beard in a room with all these TV sets, and, all that kind of shit, I'd be like, yep, you had a nice idea, but now you're getting preachy and up your own ass. You're really indulging this beyond a point in which I find it palatable. Like, when you watch a scene for 5 minutes in which he is questioning a generic-y kind of actor in a chair with all these computer screens going, you were always here. No, you were not always here. this is the millionth, iteration of this, and you've always done this, and all this other kind of stuff. It's just like, yeah, I think the core idea was simple and easy for an audience to find palatable and watch and go, that's a great idea. We could all be in the Matrix, this question reality and all that kind of stuff. But then it's like, now we've got an Oracle, and now we've got these different programs, and we've got some albino guys with dreadlocks who, and now we've got a train that's going to go from A to B. It's just like, yeah, did you want just like a paycheck?
It's a case of throwing everything at the wall and seeing what sticks.
Yeah.
And far too many things stuck to the wall, and so they just kind of went with everything rather than keeping it streamlined and easier to digest. Yeah. And it just, I think they lost a lot of people because it became a parody of itself.
Yeah. Now, what do you think, Dave? I feel like I just broke your little heart. You were just like, I love the Matrix.
No, I agree. Like, when I watched it as a kid, I guess, I loved all of them. And then watching them recently, the second and third were kind of like dragged on a little bit. Like, I got a little bit bored. Like, they made a lot of good points, about, I don't know, like choice and belief and all that kind of stuff.
And destiny and all that.
Yeah. It made you think, and about, like, I like the fact that it was like the machines and humans and war against each other, and the whole thing about machines being honest and all that.
And to be honest, in the third one, where they're in their huge like power loaders and they're fighting, and you can see what reality is. Like in the Matrix, you don't really see the reality. They're on a ship, and that ship is very rustic, and they're all eating like clay and stuff, and they're wearing rags.
Yeah.
That's great, but it's not the theme of a apocalyptic kind of scenario or post-apocalyptic kind of scenario that is explored in 2 and 3, where you see those survivors in that city and the shit that's actually hitting the fan, and then them trying to physically fight to survive. I liked seeing that in 2 and 3. Yeah. What I didn't like was so much of philosophical ejaculate on the screen.
Like over and over again.
Yeah.
Like,
you're beaten over the head with it, aren't you?
And I feel like some of those themes could have been condensed into one film along with the battle to save Zion.
It could have been 1 and 2, and that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there are some great action sequences in it. Like, while I can pick on the albino people with the dreadlocks,
ghosty guys,
I quite liked seeing Morpheus cut through a car with a sword. Who
doesn't want to see that?
Well, I'd watch. That could just be the next Lawrence Fishburne film. Yeah. Lawrence cuts through car with sword. I'd be like, that's great.
Good for you.
Yeah.
I found the Neo and Trinity relationship very generic and dull as well. Like, it was just, I'm going to sacrifice myself for you. Oh, and then I'm going to sacrifice myself for you. It's Sam and Dean from Supernatural over and over and over again.
To be perfect,
just communicate with each other and you'll be fine.
My problem with that relationship is that they kind of started off in the Matrix, and there's this idea of physical attraction and all that kind of stuff that you do when you first met someone. And their relationship, I didn't feel like was expanded upon in 2 and 3. It was just this given that you love each other and you're the ones and you're going to sacrifice and all that other shit. And it's just like, can we just see them go on a date? Could you imagine seeing Neo
Do they actually even like each other?
Yeah. But, like, they might find each other attractive and fuck, like, crazy people. But I'd love to see them in Zion at this shitty cafe, just eating gruel.
Figuring out who's going to pay the bill.
Yeah, and whether or not they actually like each other. Like, having a conversation and be like, deciding whether or not there's actually any chemistry beyond the whole, you're my destiny.
Well, the Oracle said so. That's it. That's all she cares about.
So let me get this straight. If you get two people who are dumb enough and you just say, you two are destined to be together, and they'd be like, I guess so. Let's get married. They will never question this whatsoever.
No.
Let's not expand upon this.
Doesn't even matter if you don't like each other.
Yeah. Now, I've heard recently that Will Smith was originally going to be the Neo role.
Yeah, I heard that too. Yeah.
Right.
And he passed on it.
Which, to be perfectly honest, Will Smith makes a lot of interesting decisions.
Like,
Well, he had a point where he made the best decisions ever. He had this idea of, if films are putting money into their special effects, I'll be in that film. So he did Men in Black because of that. He did Independence Day because of that. And then he made some mistakes by going, oh, I'll do like iRobot, or, you know, what was that other piece?
Wild West or whatever.
Wicked Wild Wild West.
Oh, yeah.
Boom, boom, boom. Yeah. And, yeah.
Did iRobot not do so well?
It was okay.
It was
He did
okay.
alright.
Yeah, okay. Not great, yeah.
I think if he headlines a film, people will go see it.
Yeah.
He's
true.
you know, as like he's got the personality and the charisma to draw an audience.
But
even
there
if
has
it's
been a
not great
drop-off. I
film.
mean, like Hancock, it's like,
Yeah.
just because something grosses lots of money does not necessarily mean it's going to hold up, or that people would buy it on DVD or want to see it again.
Yeah.
They'd go, I saw it because it was pretty and it had Will Smith in it.
Yeah.
And then when you interview them after the cinema, they'd be like, yeah, it was pretty and Will Smith was in it, I guess.
His dramatic roles haven't always
Oh, he's done
gone
some
all
good
that
stuff.
well.
Ali was awesome. Pursuit
Yeah.
of Happiness, I hear, is okay.
Yep.
I mean,
7 pounds, not too bad.
what was that? Send in the Hounds, wasn't
7
it?
pounds, I think.
Send in the Hounds, wasn't it?
The unknown Will Smith film, Send
Yeah.
in the Hound.
And, you know, going back to those kind of blockbuster things, you know,
Mm-hmm.
Suicide Squad, I didn't mind him in that.
Yeah, he and Margot Robbie kind of pulled that film along, dragged it, bleeding on the ground.
But, like, they were destined to carry a boulder through the rest of time, like some kind of Greek
Yeah,
myth.
Sisyphean
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
feat to drag that film up off the ground. Yeah, I mean, and they have good chemistry together. I mean, they didn't have much to do together in the film, but what was that movie they did together? Focus?
Oh, yeah.
That was great. That was a good film.
So, The Matrix has this convention of, if you die in The Matrix, you die in real life. Now, not all of them follow that rule. Like, the 13th floor is a different kettle of fish. Dave explained to us what happens if you die in the reality of the 13th floor.
So, in the 13th floor, if you jack in and
And you're,
Sounds so wrong now, doesn't it?
yeah,
and you're in the simulation world from the real world above,
yeah.
and you die, that person in the simulation that you took over then takes over your life
Yeah.
in the real world. So
So-
they swap,
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
So you're not you. You're your consciousness. I'm confused.
Basically, the person you replace, the simulation you replace, you become.
Yes.
So I guess
Yeah.
if I'm
Or
replacing...
becomes you.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
if I am taking over Bill's consciousness, if I die, Bill wakes up in my body.
Yes.
My name's not Bill.
Who's Bill?
Well,
Yeah,
I'm assuming
so,
in my
okay.
real life, if I was going to take on
Yeah.
someone's simulation, it'd be
Which
Bill
took
Murray.
it took me a while to figure that out while watching that film, because I had nothing going in. Like, I had not read anything about it, knew nothing.
Well, yeah, I mean, but that's also not revealed to like the last 20 minutes.
Yeah, and it really, I couldn't figure out what was going on. And because I like wasn't familiar with a lot of the actors in that film as well, it really took me a while to figure out who was who and what the heck was going on. It was good though. Like, it was good that I wasn't familiar. Like, they're not, like, Vincent D'Onofrio is obviously quite recognizable, but the other actors are fairly unknown.
Well, if someone said to me, what are their names, I'd say, I can't tell you, but the lead is usually in comedies. So he's in Sour Grapes.
He's in the TV show Unreal as well, and he plays a real dick in that show.
He's in Cinderella Man. He plays Russell Crowe's, like, opposite boxer. So there's, like, two people who are vying for, like, the heavyweight champion, and one's him. The other guy is from The Power of One and the X-Files movie and Angels and Demons. He's the guy who's like, if you must do so softly. You know, that kind of stuff. He's the lead guy that is dealing with Tom Hanks, who basically says, yeah, get Ewan McGregor out of here. He's a fucking nut, but don't kill him here. Do it over there.
Do it
over there. And then, yeah, Vincent D'Onofrio's during that young, skinny, blonde days, like in Adventures in Babysitting, before someone said, "Hey, try a donut," and he went, "These are amazing."
Don't. That's so mean.
Well, it's kind of true. Like, there's this thing of
He's still got that really tall, imposing
yeah.
figure, though.
Yeah, but there's a chronological of his weight, which is you start off with Adventures in Babysitting, and he's like, holy shit, this guy could be Thor, which is part of the dynamic of that. And then you've got this, and then you've got The Cell, where he just looks like a nut bar.
Oof, yeah.
And then you have like Garin in Law and Order, and then you've got the Jurassic World, where you just look at him and you go, "What have you been doing to yourself?"
See, now when I think of him now, I think of the Marvel series of Daredevil, where he plays the Kingpin, and he's freaking scary. Like, he's this giant tank of a guy that beats
That's
people
really
to
good
death with
casting
his
for
hand.
Kingpin as well.
Yeah, and he's terrifying in that show.
Well, I mean, Kingpin, though, was against race in the actual casting of the film. It was played by Michael Clarke Duncan. But Kingpin was typically Spider-Man's nemesis, and he was a big old white guy. Mm-hmm. Michael Clarke Duncan, big old black guy.
May he rest.
Yes. Take my hand, boss.
Anyway, so 13th Floor. It's I hadn't even heard of it. It was definitely had flown under my radar, but it has a lot of themes that tie into The Matrix.
Do we think it flew under the radar because it came out during a time where probably the be-all and end-all of it was The Matrix?
There was a bit of a saturation, wasn't there? Because there was Dark City that came out, I think, the year before The Matrix.
Yeah.
And then, The Matrix kind of ate up everyone's attention in, was it 98, 97?
I feel like it was 97, but there was also Virtuosity, which had themes like that.
Yeah.
And then themes of AI was AI, and I think there was just a point in which technology was catching up with society, and society was becoming in some ways fearful and also embracing it in some things.
The whole Y2K thing.
Yeah.
Freaked people out.
Because, I mean, that is a clear difference. When you look at Tron, you're like, society at that time, we had video games in arcades, but that was about it.
Yeah.
While nowadays, you look at them, when people were watching The Matrix, it was just like, oh my god, we've got the internet and mobile phones. We could be in The Matrix!
They could take over and kill us all.
Mm.
Yeah. And Dark City was, it was a precursor to The Matrix, but it had those themes of the Messiah figure in a virtual reality or dreamlike situation coming in and taking over and helping people, I guess, or like trying to save people and wake them up to the reality that they're in.
What do you think about that film, Dave?
Dark City.
This is your week, remember. I want you to have all this talk about AI and creation and Messiah and... Like, when I said before, I'm not in The Matrix, you kind of looked at me as if to say, what?
Maybe you are.
How do you know? So, Dark City, I watched a while ago, and I guess it's simulation in a different way. It's not like in a computer program, but it's, I guess, a simulated world, like the world's created around you. And I guess they were asking questions as well, like, what is it to be human? Like, are we just the sum of our memories, or are we something more than that?
Well, I mean, the idea of copying your consciousness into a machine to live forever, I mean, who wouldn't want to do that? Okay, so you might know that you might have noticed that we had some technical difficulties. It was a little bit subtle. You can fix that in post, so you've got to forgive us, that kind of thing. Yeah. This is our first kind of show.
This episode is brought to you by batteries that die.
Yeah.
Very suddenly.
Yeah. So I got a bit low. I started out being normal, and then the battery started to die, and I got really, really quiet, and then it was just like gone. And then, yeah, so we apologize if that's a major issue for you that you need to listen to me. I mean, Jesus.
You do tend to go on.
Yeah. So we raised my levels a little bit, and we lowered Elise's level a little bit, and we think it's all nice and crisp for you to listen to. But if it's not, well, sod ya. It's free. So what we're going to cover now is how shitty Tron is.
It is. It's it hasn't held up, and we're not just talking the computer graphics, the storyline. It just, the idea of anthropomorphizing a computer program, it doesn't really make sense.
Is that the right word? Because that's when you assign, creatures human qualities? Like when you do it to a
I don't know. Maybe it's not the right word. Humanizing.
It's pretty close. Know. I mean, it's like when you go, oh, the dog acts like a human or has these behaviors of a human. Well, when a program acts like a human, you're like, is it cubramorphic? You googly? But yeah, I mean, I watched Tron today, and my issue was that, they've sucked Jeff Bridges into the computer with the laser that can do this, which is, obviously
laser
bullshit for our times, but back then it's just like pure bullshit. But then he's interacting with programs that say, hi, I'm a stocks and bonds and I'm an accounting, piece of software. It's like, hi, I'm MYOB. I'm Excel. I'm, Windows Vista. And it's just like, okay.
We're all going to die.
Yeah. It's like they've got these human kind of emotions where it's like, I want to just keep living and helping old people with financial security into their future. And then, someone throws a frisbee at them and they're dead. And it's like, are we supposed to cry for that? Like,
am I supposed to feel bad for MYOB for disintegrating?
No, I don't think we are. But I mean, that story is that Jeff Bridges created these arcade games, this software that is making lots of money, and that one of the people who wrote the main software kind of framework is played by David Warner, and he claimed responsibility and ownership of all of it. And within this kind of framework is a file that would actually prove that Jeff Bridges wrote this program and that he is actually entitled.
Is that what Tron is?
Tron is a program that is created to stop the master program from having complete power to assimilate programs and do what it wants. So, Tron is kind of like his sidekick. It's like...
It is, yeah.
Yeah. So Tron is
Which is weird that they named the movie after the sidekick.
Yes, it is. In reality, it should probably be called Jeff Bridges. And everyone would be like, why are we seeing a movie about that Lloyd Bridges, his son? It's 1982 and we don't even know what Jeff Bridges is. Like, leave him alone, he's trying. He's battling the computer. But yeah, I mean, so the problem is that the reality would be that if he's created these arcade games that are making all this money and this master program is assimilating these programs, that they wouldn't be MYOB. It would be something like Donkey Kong. It'd be something like Pixels or Ready Player One. But CGI or computer-generated animation or imagery or whatever, this is the first film of that. So they can't really go, oh, we're going to make the spaceship from Space Invaders or the Pong thing or...
Yeah. The best we can do is a giant staple.
Yeah, pretty much. It's a giant staple and
it squashes things.
Yeah. And a little pixel or a bit that comes around and does its thing and all that kind of crap. So the technology that they have isn't strong enough to get across the concepts that it's trying to, get across, which is these programs have the potential to have intelligence, to expand their horizons, to feel pain in some regard, which other films expand upon that theme. They
Yeah.
fight for their lives. It's like what happens in AI, or Dave is coughing
Just dying here, sorry.
yeah, dying a little inside.
try and die quietly.
I'm basically shitting on his topic
Oh,
and
no.
his existence.
Crushing his childhood under your foot.
And I guess this type of film is always going to remain relevant because, or at least in the near future, because we're all getting virtual reality shit for our mobile phone.
Yeah.
There's things like Jumanji 2 where there's avatars who are representing people. There's Ready Player One.
Ready Player One that's just come out recently, where basically people have just given up on the world and they're just living in this alternate reality.
On the line. And the thing is, I mean, it's that thing of we're already doing that with Facebook.
That's it. I mean, you walk past any group of people, their faces are buried in their phone. They're not interacting anymore.
Yeah.
Face to face. It's all online.
And, you know, virtual reality and the headsets and all that stuff was a thing in the 90s. And now it's become more of a reality. Virtually. So I think if in 20 years' time we'll be going, oh, are there still virtual reality simulation, you know, jacked in kind of films going on? I'd say probably not, because it will become that mundane.
It's becoming normal.
It'll be that normal that it'll just be like, if it's going to be in films, it'll just be seen as like...
how we'll be watching films.
It'll be how we'll be watching films, but it'll be like, if that's part of the element of the story, it'll be like, Keanu Reeves gets a glass of water and then locks into the Matrix. And then he goes off out of the Matrix and kills some bad guys. It's not going to be the story. It's going to be like...
John Wick in virtual reality.
Well, it'll be like John Wick shaves and then goes into virtual reality and has sex with a prostitute. Then he gets out of the virtual reality and then he gets revenge. It's not going to be the
Someone
story.
killed his virtual reality dog.
Yeah.
And he has to hunt them down in the real world.
Yeah.
We just wrote this movie.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Trademark or whatever it is. Yeah. So I don't think it has a shelf life. I mean, no, I think it has a shelf life. I think that once technology catches up with the concepts that are being explored, that we will actually be more likely to encounter this in our everyday lives. We won't have to escape into film to explore these ideas.
Mm.
I mean, it's the idea of cloning in some ways. Like the idea of like the Sixth Sense. Not the Sixth Sense. The Sixth Day, where basically they take someone's consciousness, their body's died, so they put their consciousness back into another clone of them, and it keeps on going. It's trying to capture immortality through technology and creating through technology, and the ethical dilemma with that. Like, do we have a soul? Or is our soul just our consciousness? If we can make our consciousness last forever, is that our soul? I didn't pick this topic, don't blame me.
Too many big questions.
Yeah, and it's nice to think about, but if someone said to me...
That's what good sci-fi is, though, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
It's asking the really big questions.
Oh, this topic isn't just good sci-fi, it's of a specific nature.
Yeah.
And this does make us question a lot of things, and that's good. But if someone said to me, you can only watch a certain genre on a desert island, I would not be picking films like this. I'd be going, yeah, sci-fi, that's great. What? Only ones where I'm jacked in and I'm questioning my existence and whether or not I have any kind of parental responsibility to programs I create? No, thank you. I don't choose that one. But if you want to see any of these films, we recommend that you check them out on Netflix if you're interested in Transcendence, which is the latest thing of Johnny Depp and, you know, him taking over the world because his brain's in the machine. Inception, which is a Nolan, and it's breathtaking, but that's about it. And there's a spinny bottle, and isn't that great? We recommend you don't watch Vanilla Sky on Netflix or ever again.
Tom Cruise is insufferable.
Yes.
And
Succotash.
Cameron Crowe cannot write a decent female character to save his life.
Didn't he do Almost Famous?
Yeah.
I love Almost Famous.
Everybody loves Almost Famous, but like, his obsession with the Manic Pixie Dream Girl is just, ugh. Right to go with the personality.
Source Code is also on Netflix. Now, if you want to see the classic films of Matrix, Tron, Dark City, Lawnmower Man, etc., you're going to see those on iTunes. And where do we stand? What are we watching this week?
Okay. What am I watching? I am watching a Santa Clarita Diet on Netflix right now. Is that
about the transgender Santa Claus and what he eats?
It's a very different kind of zombie show. It stars Drew Barrymore and Timothy Oliphant. Oliphant? I'm not sure how to pronounce his surname.
Timothy riding an elephant.
Yes. And Drew Barrymore's character wakes up one morning and dies and becomes a zombie. And it's really more about their relationship and their way of coping with the new normal that is the fact that she needs to eat people.
Does she need to eat people or eat their brains?
No, she eats people.
Okay, because there's a specific genre of zombie films where it's only brains.
That's right. Yeah, no, this is the whole shebang.
Now, is she like the old Drew Barrymore or is she like a bit dumb like most zombies are?
No, she's still her. She's kind of ruled by her id.
Yeah.
Though, so she's much more outgoing.
Primal.
And primal. Yeah. It's worth a watch. It's a comedy.
Drew Barrymore in a comedy?
Yeah, I know who to thunk it.
Yeah.
I think the real standout though is Timothy Oliphant. I'm gonna really struggle with this surname. I think it's pronounced Oliphant.
I don't know.
Yeah, he's fantastic.
He is amazing in everything he ever does.
Yeah, he's like, he should have been a leading man.
Yes, he should still be a leading man.
Yeah.
If you ever get a chance to see Deadwood is amazing.
Yes.
And he's probably done one of only decent video game adaptations of film, which is Hitman. The first Hitman is pretty damn good. And then they made a sequel, which was pretty damn bad. What am I watching?
What are you watching?
I am watching Grimm still. I'm halfway.
There's a good 5 or 6 seasons of that, isn't there?
Yes, there is. And you've both said that basically from season 5 to 6, it's poo sandwich. I'm at season 3.5, and it's still good.
It's still good.
Beyond that,
Are you enjoying the cardigans?
Yeah. The relationship between the blue bot and the cheetah girl is developing, and I'm liking.
She's a Fuchsbau.
Yeah.
She's a fox person.
We would like to say that we do not endorse Nazis.
Yeah.
Okay.
It gets a bit of a Nazi angle going on there for a while.
I know, I was just saying those German words, so I do not want to ostracize ourselves from the German market. Though in saying that, we're not speaking in German, so they must know English, which means they know satire and they're highly educated. So,
This took a turn.
Yeah. No,
anything else other than Grimm?
I would actually say that I'm a little bit annoyed because I was watching The Mist.
On Netflix?
The TV series.
Yeah.
The film is great. I enjoy lots of
great ending.
Yeah. And he fought for that ending, and I'm fine with that ending because the alternative is just Hollywood shit that they spin out every 5 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
The TV series was interesting, and I think the problem is that they're quite happy to put lots of money into these TV series on Netflix and all that stuff. But if it doesn't catch on its first season, kill it now! We don't want to waste our money. It's like, yep, we have to get involved in the characters and feel something for them. That can take time. You've given us 10 episodes. And to be perfectly honest, we've got so much content these days. Give us time to get around to it.
Yeah.
So it's like, cool, 10 episodes of it, and then you're dead. Yeah. So, other than that, I'm watching lots of stand-up. Ricky Gervais, Humanity.
Yes, that was good.
I quite enjoyed that.
That was a good one.
What about you, Dave?
What about Dave? Watching? Yeah, what are you watching?
More listening than watching. Listening to an audiobook, Neuromancer, which is a 1984 sci-fi novel by William Gibson, who apparently came up with the word cyberspace. The book's, I guess, a simulation book, I guess. It has some traits from The Matrix. They actually refer to the simulation world as The Matrix, jacking in. And it's also got some elements of Tron in it. Like the humans, I guess, go in and attack programs and try and beat firewalls and stuff. And these programs, I guess, are not so much personified, but visualized and objectified, I guess, in some sort of virtual world. I guess similar to Tron, I guess.
So what you're saying is MYOB is actually played by Ron Perlman in this book? And he's like, mind your own business.
Yes. So
I have read that that book was an inspiration for a lot of the creation of these films.
So what we're saying is, next show, if we talk about, like, say, time, going back in time and those kinds of genres of sci-fi, we could go back in time and I could kill that guy and then we wouldn't have to have done this episode.
The Matrix would never have existed.
So we're going to wrap up now.
Yes. Thank you very much for bearing with us with our ups and downs in this episode.
Yeah, sorry about
that. Please get in touch with us through our Facebook page. Let us know of any films we may have missed and your own thoughts on whether you think Tron is as terrible as we think it is, apart from Dave, who loves it. And join us next time.